Just focusing back on Asia and China in particular. Now that China's 12th five-year plan seems to suggest that China over the next few years could move away from being a trade surplus country to actually running a deficit as it focuses on building a domestic consumption-oriented economy. Now, do you believe if it actually does move to that, China will have a lot less in surplus funds to invest in overseas bonds, specifically US Treasuries, and that in turn could push up interest rates in OECD markets?
Yes, in a single word, yes. I think that's where it is going. China has a saving rate, household plus uh, business plus state-owned enterprises, of nearly 50% of GDP. If they bring that down by 4 percentage points, they won't have any current account surplus. So they won't have any excess funds to be investing in U.S. or other foreign bonds. And that would have a major impact, I think, major impact on what happens in those markets.
In the same vein, you have, countries like the US specifically, where you've had Timothy Geithner make multiple trips to China trying to convince the Chinese authorities that they need to let the yuan go. When you let the yuan go, you make China a lot less competitive from an export point of view. In turn, not giving China that surplus money to invest in your US Treasuries. Right. So doesn't it work? Isn't it a little counterproductive?
I think in that sense it is counterproductive, and in part it is on the U.S. part a response to political pressure to try to do something about the competitiveness of U.S. products, and people forget that by encouraging the Chinese to raise the renminbi, they just make the products that we as Americans buy from China much more expensive. So yes, it's fine for those companies that compete with imports from China or that export to China, but for the U.S. as a whole, it's a counterproductive effect. It actually lowers real standards of living in the United States. I think the Chinese are letting the renminbi appreciate for good domestic reasons. It will help to tame inflation. It provides an incentive for Chinese firms to develop markets at home, which is, as you said, the key to the new 12th five-year plan. So by sending the signal that it's going to be harder to sell abroad because of a stronger renminbi, the Chinese government is making it clear to their manufacturers that they ought to be focusing on domestic markets.
And just looking at India, when you engage with people in the US, people across the world, what is it in their minds that is the single biggest issue for them to be investing into India?
India is now, I think, correctly seen as not only a very large country, billion-plus population, but one that is growing rapidly and that has a very large middle class that's going to be a buyer of a wide range of products. So I think some come here in order to take advantage of low wages, both for unskilled and skilled workers. But I think others come here because they see the growing size and strength of the Indian economy and want to be part of it.
In recent months, we've been plagued by scandals and controversies. Do you get a sense that, a number of investors are getting scared off from India because of that, or do they believe that it's par for the course?
I don't think anybody who is thinking about doing long-term investing in India is going to be deterred by these recent scandals. I think nobody thinks or thought that India was pure or corruption-free, just as they don't think China is corruption-free. In some ways, the corruption issue is more transparent here in India than it is in China. It's something that American businesses don't like, but they want to be part of this growing economy.
All right, Mr. Feldstein, thanks very much for this.
Enjoyed being with you. Very good.